The ancient chamber of the Galactic Council fell eerily silent as Sarah Chen, the human emissary from the distant planet of Earth, approached the dais. All eyes were fixed upon her, a mix of intrigue and apprehension etched across the regal features of the alien counselors. Sarah took a deep breath, aware that the weight of her world's future rested squarely upon her shoulders in this pivotal moment. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice projecting with unwavering conviction, "I come before you today bearing grave tidings from my homeworld. For too long, Earth has been dismissed as a backwater, primitive planet, a mere speck in the vast expanse of your glorious galactic civilizations. But I stand here to tell you that this perception is no longer accurate." Sarah paused, allowing her words to sink in. The counselors shifted uncomfortably in their seats, their brows furrowing with a mixture of curiosity and unease. "In the past decade, we on Earth have made remarkable strides in scientific and technological advancement," Sarah continued, her tone laced with a hint of pride. "Our researchers have unlocked the secrets of interstellar travel, harnessed the power of fusion reactors, and developed weapons capable of decimating entire fleets with a single blast. And this is just the beginning." A murmur of alarm rippled through the council chamber, prompting the presiding elder, a wizened Merovan named Therival, to raise a skeletal hand. "Young human, your words are disturbing. Are you suggesting that your people pose a threat to the delicate balance of power that we have maintained for millennia?" Sarah met Therival's piercing gaze unflinchingly. "I understand your concerns, esteemed counselor, but I assure you, the intentions of Earth are not malicious. We seek only to secure our place among the stars, to forge alliances, and contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. However, we have also become aware of the challenges that may arise from our newfound capabilities." The counselors exchanged uneasy glances, their previous dismissal of Earth now giving way to a growing sense of unease. Sarah pressed on, her eyes sweeping across the chamber. "My people have studied the histories and power structures of your galactic civilization. We recognize that our rapid ascent may be perceived as a threat to the established order, and we do not wish for conflict. Quite the opposite, in fact. We come to you today, humbly requesting that you extend a hand of cooperation, that we might work together to ensure a future of mutual prosperity and peace." Therival's wizened features softened slightly, and he inclined his head in a gesture of contemplation. "Your words are bold, young Chen, and your people's accomplishments undeniably impressive. However, the decision to grant Earth a seat among us is not one to be made lightly. The ramifications could be far-reaching, both within and beyond this council." Sarah nodded solemnly. "I understand, esteemed counselor. All I ask is that you consider our proposal with an open mind. We on Earth believe that together we can usher in a new era of cooperation and advancement that will benefit us all." The chamber fell silent once more as the counselors began to murmur amongst themselves, their expressions ranging from thoughtful to deeply concerned. Sarah stood her ground, her gaze unwavering, as she awaited their decision, a decision that would determine the fate of her homeworld and the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Outside the council chambers, the stars twinkled in the infinite expanse of space, oblivious to the momentous events unfolding within. Earth's future, and perhaps the future of the entire galactic civilization, hung in the balance. The deliberations within the Galactic Council chamber had stretched on for what felt like an eternity to Sarah Chen. She stood before the august assembly, her hands clasped tightly behind her back, as the counselors debated the gravity of her words and the implications of Earth's burgeoning technological prowess. Finally, after what seemed an age, Therival the Merovan elder raised a bony hand, silencing the murmurs that had filled the cavernous hall. All eyes turned to him, the weight of the council's decision resting heavily upon his shoulders. "Young Chen," Therival began, his voice carrying a note of both caution and curiosity. "Your people's achievements are indeed remarkable, and your request for cooperation is not without merit. However, the Council cannot simply ignore the potential threats your worlds rise, may pose to the delicate balance we have maintained for millennia. Sarah tensed, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew this moment would be pivotal, that the very future of Earth hung in the balance. Esteemed counselor, I understand your concerns, but I implore you to see beyond the fear of the unknown. We on Earth have no desire for conquest or domination. Our only wish is to take our rightful place among the stars, to contribute our knowledge and innovation for the betterment of all. Therivel's brow furrowed, his pale eyes boring into Sarah's. And yet, the capabilities you have described, interstellar travel, fusion reactors, devastating weaponry, speak to a level of technological advancement that far exceeds that of many of our member worlds. How can we be certain that your people will not use these tools to disrupt the fragile peace we have built? The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices as the other counselors chimed in, their concerns and suspicions echoing Therivel's words. Sarah felt the weight of their scrutiny bearing down upon her, but she refused to be cowed. Raising her hand, she called for silence, her gaze sweeping across the assembly with unwavering determination. Honored counselors, I understand your trepidation, but I ask that you consider the alternative. If you reject our plea for cooperation, if you turn your backs on Earth and leave us to our own devices, what then? Do you truly believe that a people who have shown such remarkable resilience and ingenuity will simply acquiesce to your demands and remain isolated from the greater galactic community? A hush fell over the chamber as Sarah's words sank in. She pressed on, her voice carrying a note of urgency. Earth's scientists and engineers have already demonstrated their ability to leapfrog generations of technological progress. Imagine what they might achieve if faced with the threat of exclusion and hostility from the very civilizations they seek to join. The potential for conflict, for an escalating arms race, for the entire delicate balance you have worked so hard to maintain, all of it could come crashing down. Therivel's expression darkened, and Sarah knew she had struck a nerve. The Merovan counselor's gaze narrowed as he considered her words, the weight of the decision clearly visible in the lines of his ancient face. You speak with wisdom beyond your years, young Chen, Therivel conceded, his voice laden with a heavy sigh. And you raise valid concerns that the council cannot simply dismiss. Perhaps there is merit in your proposal for cooperation, but the ramifications of such a decision are not to be taken lightly. Sarah felt a glimmer of hope ignite within her chest, but she dared not show it, mindful of the fragility of the situation. I understand, esteemed counselor. All I ask is that you give our request the consideration it deserves. The future of both our worlds, and perhaps the entire galaxy, may hang in the balance. Therivel nodded slowly, his gaze sweeping across the assembly of counselors. Then it is settled. We shall convene a delegation to travel to your world, to assess the true nature of Earth's technological advancements, and explore the possibility of forging an alliance. The fate of the galactic throne may very well hang in the balance. As the chamber erupted in a buzz of murmurs and speculation, Sarah felt a surge of hope and trepidation. The die had been cast, and the course of history was about to be irrevocably altered. Earth's future, and perhaps the future of the entire galaxy, now rested on the outcome of this crucial diplomatic mission. The air within the Galactic Council chamber crackled with tension as the counselors debated the momentous decision before them. Sarah Chen watched with bated breath, her fingers fidgeting nervously as the seasoned diplomats and leaders of the galaxy's most influential civilizations argued heatedly over the fate of her homeworld. On one side, a faction led by the hawkish Xendari counselor Grathkor advocated for immediate intervention, insisting that Earth's rapid technological ascent posed an unacceptable threat to the delicate balance of power. We cannot allow this upstart world to disrupt the harmony we have so carefully maintained. The Xendari bellowed, his reptilian features contorted in a mask of fury. They must be brought to heel before their ambitions spiral out of control. Opposite Grathkor, a more moderate contingent, including the revered Merovan counselor Therivel, argued for a more cautious, diplomatic approach. Rash action will only breed further resentment and mistrust, Therivold cautioned, his weathered voice carrying a note of reason. We must extend a hand of cooperation to the people of Earth, to understand their intentions and find common ground. Sarah listened intently, her heart racing as the debate unfolded. She knew that the fate of her world hung in the balance, that the decisions made here today would reverberate through the ages. Summoning her courage, she stepped forward, drawing the attention of the bickering counselors. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice clear and unwavering. I understand your concerns, your fears of the unknown. But I implore you to see beyond the immediate threats and consider the potential benefits of embracing Earth as an ally. Grathcor's reptilian eyes narrowed to slits, and he opened his jaws to unleash a scathing retort. But Therivold raised a hand, silencing the Xendari with a pointed glare. Speak, Yum Chen, the Merovan elder intoned, and let us hear your perspective. Sarah nodded gratefully, then turned to address the assembly. My people have weathered countless challenges, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles to reach this point. We are a resilient, innovative species, driven by a thirst for knowledge and a determination to secure our place among the stars. And now that we stand on the precipice of joining your galactic community, we do not seek to disrupt the established order, quite the opposite, in fact. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the council chamber. What we desire is the opportunity to contribute, to share our discoveries and technological advancements for the betterment of all. We have no ambitions of conquest or domination, only a humble wish to forge lasting alliances and work alongside you in ushering in a new era of cooperation and progress. Grathcor snorted derisively, but Sarah pressed on, undaunted. I understand your trepidation, Counselor Grathcor. The prospect of a new, potentially disruptive power joining your ranks is indeed a daunting one. But consider the alternative. If you turn your backs on Earth, if you deny us the chance to be part of this galactic community, what then? The Xendari counselor opened his mouth to retort, but Sarah raised a hand, silencing him. We on Earth have already demonstrated our remarkable resilience and technological prowess. Faced with exclusion and hostility, do you truly believe we will simply acquiesce and remain isolated? No, we will forge our own path, driven by a burning desire to prove our worth and secure our future. And in doing so, we may very well upset the delicate balance you have worked so hard to maintain. A hush fell over the chamber as Sarah's words sank in. Therivold nodded slowly, his weathered features etched with contemplation. The young human speaks with wisdom beyond her years, he conceded, casting a sidelong glance at the now silent Grathcor. And she raises valid concerns that we cannot simply dismiss. The Merovan counselor turned his attention back to Sarah, his piercing gaze locking with hers. Very well, young Chen. The council will consider your proposal for cooperation with the utmost seriousness. We shall convene a delegation to travel to your world, to assess the true nature of Earth's technological advancements and explore the possibility of forging an alliance. Sarah felt a surge of hope, but she dared not show it, mindful of the fragility of the situation. Thank you, esteemed counselor. I can assure you that the people of Earth stand ready to welcome your delegation with open arms. The future of both our worlds may very well hang in the balance. As the chamber erupted in a renewed buzz of speculation and debate, Sarah breathed a silent sigh of relief. The die had been cast, and the course of history was about to be irrevocably altered. Now, all she could do was wait and hope that her world's fate would be placed in the right hands. The mammoth interstellar vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its sleek, gleaming hull reflecting the bright blue sky like a shimmering mirror. Sarah Chen watched from the tarmac of the newly constructed spaceport, her heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation as the Galactic Council's diplomatic delegation touched down. The ramp lowered, and a procession of alien dignitaries emerged, their features and physiology as diverse as the worlds they represented. At the forefront strode Zara Orin, a respected Azurian diplomat renowned for her keen intellect and unflappable composure. Sarah stepped forward to greet the delegation, her hands clasped before her in a gesture of welcome. "Greetings, honored counselors," she said, her voice brimming with a mix of formality and cautious optimism. "On behalf of the people of Earth, I welcome you to our humble world. We are honored by your presence and hope that our discussions will lead to a fruitful alliance." Zara's lips curled into a measured smile as she appraised the young human emissary. "Thank you, Sarah Chen. The Galactic Council is indeed intrigued by the reports of your world's remarkable technological advancements. We have come to assess the situation for ourselves and to explore the possibility of forging a cooperative relationship." Sarah nodded, gesturing towards a gleaming hover platform that awaited them. "Please, allow me to escort you to our capital city. There we can begin our discussions in a more comfortable setting." As the delegation boarded the transport, Sarah could feel the weight of their scrutiny upon her. The Azurian diplomat's words had been carefully chosen, betraying neither enthusiasm nor skepticism. It was clear that the counselors had not yet made up their minds about Earth and its role in the galactic community. The journey to the capital was a brief one, and soon the delegation found themselves in a spacious conference room, seated around a sleek, curved table. Sarah took her place at the head, facing the assembled counselors, and took a steadying breath. "Honored guests, welcome to our city of Horizon. I hope you find the accommodations to your liking." She paused, allowing her gaze to sweep across the faces of the alien dignitaries. "Now I believe we have much to discuss. Please, feel free to ask me anything you wish to know about Earth and our technological capabilities." Zara inclined her head in acknowledgement, her piercing azure eyes fixed upon Sarah. "Thank you, Miss Chen. To begin, perhaps you could provide us with an overview of your world's recent advancements, particularly in the areas of interstellar travel and weaponry. The Council has expressed concerns regarding the potential disruption your people's abilities may cause to the established order." Sarah nodded, steeling herself for the line of questioning. "Of course, Counselor Orin. In the past decade, our scientists and engineers have made remarkable breakthroughs in several key areas. We have developed fusion-powered engines capable of propelling our vessels at speeds previously thought impossible, allowing us to traverse the vast distances between stars with ever-increasing efficiency." She paused, gauging the counselor's reactions. Most watched her with a mixture of curiosity and unease, their brows furrowed in concentration. "As for our military capabilities, we have indeed developed advanced weaponry systems, particle beam cannons, antimatter warheads, and the like. However, I must stress that our intentions are not malicious. These technologies were not created with the goal of conquest or domination, but rather to ensure the security and defense of our world." Zora's eyes narrowed slightly, and she leaned forward in her seat. "And what of your world's political and social structures, Miss Chen? How might the introduction of such powerful technologies impact the stability of your own societies, let alone the delicate balance we have maintained across the galaxy?" Sarah felt a bead of sweat trickle down her brow as the weight of the counselor's scrutiny bore down upon her. "I understand your concerns, Counselor Orin. The integration of these new technologies has indeed presented challenges for us. However, I can assure you that our leaders are committed to maintaining a peaceful, cooperative approach as we navigate this new frontier." The Azurian diplomat regarded her for a long moment, her expression unreadable. "That is reassuring to hear, Miss Chen. However, the Council will require more than mere assurances to be convinced of your world's intentions. We have much to discuss in the days ahead." Sarah nodded, steeling herself for the arduous negotiations that lay ahead. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The negotiations between the Galactic Council's delegation and the representatives of Earth proved to be a delicate dance, with both sides probing for weaknesses and seeking to gain the upper hand. Zara Orin, the Azurian diplomat, led the Council's efforts, her cool demeanor and sharp intellect proving to be a formidable challenge for the human emissaries. Sarah Chen found herself thrust into the center of the maelstrom, her diplomatic skills and knowledge of galactic politics constantly put to the test. She knew that the stakes were high, that the future of her world, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As the discussions progressed, Sarah and her team quickly realized that the counselors were not simply seeking to understand Earth's technological capabilities. They were also probing the depth of the humans' ambition and the stability of their political and social structures. Your world's rapid ascent has understandably caused a great deal of unease among the members of the Galactic Council, Zara stated, her piercing azure eyes fixed upon Sarah. We cannot help but wonder, what is the true nature of your people's intentions? Sarah took a deep breath, carefully considering her words. Honored Counselor, I can assure you that the people of Earth have no desire for conquest or domination. Our only wish is to take our rightful place among the stars, to contribute our knowledge and innovations for the betterment of all. Zara's brow furrowed slightly, and she leaned back in her chair, her fingers steepled before her. And yet, the capabilities you have described, interstellar travel, fusion reactors, devastating weaponry, suggest a level of technological advancement that far exceeds that of many of our member worlds. Surely, you must understand our concerns about the potential disruption this may cause to the delicate balance we have maintained for centuries. Sarah nodded, acknowledging the validity of Zara's concerns. I do, Counselor, and I wish I could offer you more reassurance. But the truth is, our own leaders are still grappling with the implications of these new technologies and how best to integrate them into our society. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembled counselors. What I can tell you is that we are a people driven by a unique blend of innovation, resilience, and a hunger for recognition. We have faced countless challenges, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and now that we stand on the precipice of joining your galactic community, we are determined to prove our worth. Zara's expression remained impassive, but Sarah could sense the wheels turning in the Azurian's mind. And what exactly do you hope to gain from this alliance, Miss Chen? Surely it is not merely a matter of proving your worth. Sarah steeled herself, knowing that this was a pivotal moment. We seek not just acceptance, Counselor, but true partnership. We believe that by combining our resources, our knowledge, and our strengths, we can usher in a new era of cooperation and advancement that will benefit us all. The chamber fell silent as the counselors exchanged uneasy glances. Sarah could feel the weight of their scrutiny bearing down upon her, and she knew that she had to tread carefully. I understand your hesitation, she continued, her voice steady and resolute. The prospect of a new, potentially disruptive power joining your ranks is indeed a daunting one. But I implore you to consider the alternative. If you turn your backs on Earth, if you deny us the chance to be part of this galactic community, what then? Zora's eyes narrowed, and Sarah pressed on, undaunted. Faced with exclusion and hostility, do you truly believe we will simply acquiesce and remain isolated? No, we will forge our own path, driven by a burning desire to prove our worth and secure our future. And in doing so, we may very well upset the delicate balance you have worked so hard to maintain. The Azurian diplomat's expression darkened, and Sarah knew that she had struck a nerve. The counselors began to murmur among themselves, their voices rising in a cacophony of debate. Zara raised a hand, silencing the room. Your words are compelling, Miss Chen. We shall need time to deliberate on the implications of your proposal. Rest assured, the Galactic Council will give your request the utmost consideration. Sarah nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that the fate of her world, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. As the counselors filed out of the chamber, she allowed herself a moment of quiet contemplation, her mind racing with the implications of the decisions that were soon to come. The air within the Galactic Council's private deliberation chamber crackled with tension as the seasoned diplomats and leaders debated the fate of Earth. Sarah Chen's impassioned plea had struck a chord, forcing the counselors to reconsider their initial dismissal of the upstart human civilization. Zara Orin, the Azurian emissary who had led the delegation to Earth, stood before the assembly, her piercing azure gaze sweeping across the faces of her colleagues. Honored counselors, the situation we face is a complex one, fraught with both opportunity and peril. The people of Earth have demonstrated a remarkable capacity for innovation and technological advancement, capabilities that could prove invaluable to the greater galactic community. A murmur of unease rippled through the chamber, and Zara raised a hand, silencing the dissenting voices. However, we cannot ignore the potential disruption their inclusion may bring to the delicate balance of power we have maintained for centuries. The ramifications of such a decision are not to be taken lightly. Grathkor, the hawkish Xendari counselor, rose from his seat, his reptilian features contorted in a scowl. Zara speaks the truth, but I fear she does not go far enough. Earth's ambitions pose a clear and present danger to the stability of our galactic civilization. We must act swiftly to curb their rise before it is too late. The Xendari's words were met with a chorus of shouts and objections, as the more moderate counselors argued passionately for a diplomatic approach. Therival, the revered Merovan elder, raised a bony hand, commanding the attention of the chamber. Counselor Grathkor raises a valid concern, but I believe we would be hasty to resort to aggression. The ancient Merovan's gaze swept across the assembly, his weathered features etched with contemplation. The people of Earth have demonstrated a remarkable resilience and determination. Should we reject their plea for cooperation, they may well forge their own path, one that could indeed upset the balance we have so carefully maintained. Grathkor opened his jaws to unleash a scathing retort, but Therival silenced him with a pointed glare. Furthermore, we cannot ignore the potential benefits of embracing Earth as an ally. Their technological prowess, their innovative spirit, these could be invaluable assets in our ongoing efforts to expand the boundaries of our knowledge and influence. The chamber fell silent as the counselors considered Therival's words. Zara nodded thoughtfully, her expression reflecting the gravity of the decision that lay before them. Esteemed colleagues, I believe the Merovan counselor speaks wisdom. We cannot afford to dismiss Earth's proposal out of hand, nor can we risk the consequences of rejecting their plea for cooperation. She paused, her gaze sweeping across the assembly. I propose that we convene a formal vote on the matter, to decide whether to extend an invitation to the people of Earth to join the Galactic Council as equal members. Grathkor's reptilian eyes narrowed to slits, but even he seemed to sense the shifting tide of opinion within the chamber. The other counselors exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of the decision clearly evident upon their features. After a moment of tense silence, Therival rose from his seat, commanding the attention of the assembly. Then it is settled. We shall put the matter of Earth's inclusion to a vote. Let us hear the will of the Galactic Council. The counselors began to cast their ballots, the air thick with anticipation. Sarah Chen, who had been observing the proceedings from an adjoining chamber, felt her heart racing as the results were tallied. The fate of her world, and perhaps the future of the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Finally, Zara Orin rose, her expression unreadable. The council has spoken. By a narrow margin, we have decided to extend an invitation to the people of Earth to join our ranks as equal members. A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber, some counselors nodding in cautious approval, others casting anxious glances at their colleagues. Grathkor's scaly features contorted in a mask of barely contained fury, but even he seemed to recognize the futility of continuing his opposition. Sarah felt a surge of elation, but she dared not show it. She knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, that the delicate balance of power in the galaxy was about to be irrevocably altered. But for now, she allowed herself a moment of triumph, knowing that her world had taken a momentous step towards a future among the stars. As the counselors filed out of the chamber, Sarah steeled herself for the next phase of the negotiations. The real work was only just beginning. The Galactic Council's deliberations on Earth's admission had reached a fevered pitch, with the seasoned diplomats and leaders deeply divided over the implications of welcoming the upstart human civilization into their ranks. Sarah Chen, Earth's representative, found herself at the center of the storm, navigating the complex web of galactic politics with a mixture of determination and trepidation. Across the chamber, Grathkor, the hawkish Xendari counselor, continued to voice his vehement opposition. "This is madness," he bellowed, his reptilian features contorted in a mask of fury. "By granting Earth a seat on the Council, we are inviting chaos and disruption into the very heart of our galactic civilization." Zara Orin, the Azurian emissary who had led the delegation to Earth, raised a hand, silencing the Xendari's outburst. "Counselor Grathkor, I understand your concerns, but we cannot ignore the potential benefits that Earth's inclusion may bring. Their technological prowess, their innovative spirit, these could be invaluable assets in our ongoing efforts to expand the boundaries of our knowledge and influence." Therivel, the revered Merovan elder, nodded in agreement. "The Azurian counselor speaks truly. We must not be blinded by our fears of the unknown. Earth's people have demonstrated a remarkable resilience and determination, qualities that could prove essential in the challenges that lie ahead." Sarah watched the debate unfold, her hands clasped tightly before her. She knew that the fate of her world, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Summoning her courage, she stepped forward, drawing the attention of the bickering counselors. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice clear and unwavering. "I understand the trepidation you feel, the concerns you have voiced regarding the disruption our inclusion may cause. But I implore you to consider the alternative, the consequences of rejecting our plea for cooperation." Grathkor opened his jaws to interject, but Sarah pressed on, undaunted. "Faced with exclusion and hostility, do you truly believe we will simply acquiesce and remain isolated? No, we will forge our own path, driven by a burning desire to prove our worth and secure our future. And in doing so, we may very well upset the delicate balance you have worked so hard to maintain." The chamber fell silent as Sarah's words sank in. Zara nodded slowly, her piercing azure eyes fixed upon the young human emissary. "Miss Chen speaks with wisdom beyond her years," the Azurian diplomat conceded, casting a sidelong glance at the now brooding Grathkor. "And she raises valid concerns that we cannot simply dismiss." Therivel leaned forward in his seat, his weathered features etched with contemplation. "The young human is right. If we reject Earth's proposal, we risk driving them to pursue their own agenda, one that may very well destabilize the fragile peace we have so painstakingly built." The Merovan counselor's gaze swept across the assembly, his expression solemn. "Therefore, I believe we must give serious consideration to extending an invitation to the people of Earth, to welcome them as equal partners in the great endeavor of galactic cooperation and advancement." Grathkor's reptilian eyes widened in disbelief, and he rose from his seat, his tail lashing back and forth in agitation. "This is madness. You would invite these upstarts to sit among us, to have a voice in the decisions that shape the very destiny of our civilization." Therivel fixed the Xendari with a stern glare. "Counselor Grathkor, your concerns are understandable, but we must not let fear and prejudice cloud our judgment. The future of the galactic throne may well hinge on the choices we make here today." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices as the counselors debated the matter, their arguments growing increasingly heated. Sarah Chen stood her ground, her gaze unwavering as she watched the drama unfold. She knew that this was a pivotal moment, one that would determine the course of her world's destiny, and perhaps the fate of the entire galaxy. Finally, Zara Orin raised a hand, commanding the attention of the assembly. "Honored colleagues, I believe it is time we put this matter to a formal vote. The future of the galactic throne and the balance of power in the galaxy hang in the balance. Let us hear the will of the Council." As the counselors began to cast their ballots, Sarah felt a bead of sweat trickle down her brow. The weight of the decision before them was immense, and she knew that the outcome would shape the course of history for generations to come. The chamber fell into a hushed silence as the Galactic Council's final decision was announced. Sarah Chen, the young human emissary, held her breath, her heart pounding in anticipation. The fate of her world, and perhaps the future of the entire galaxy, now rested in the hands of the august assembly before her. Zara Orin, the Azurian diplomat who had led the Council's delegation to Earth, stepped forward, her expression unreadable. "The Council has spoken," she declared, her voice carrying a note of gravity. "By a narrow margin, we have decided to extend an invitation to the people of Earth to join our ranks as equal members." A ripple of murmurs swept through the chamber, some councilors nodding in cautious approval, others casting anxious glances at their colleagues. Sarah felt a surge of triumph, but she dared not show it, mindful of the fragility of the situation. Grathkor, the hawkish Xendari counselor who had vehemently opposed Earth's inclusion, rose from his seat, his reptilian features contorted in a mask of barely contained fury. "This is a grave mistake," he bellowed, his tail lashing back and forth. "You would invite these upstarts to sit among us, to have a voice in the decisions that shape the very destiny of our civilization." Therivel, the revered Merovan elder, raised a bony hand, silencing the Xendari's outburst. "Counselor Grathkor, your concerns are understandable, but we must not let fear and prejudice cloud our judgment. The future of the galactic throne may well hinge on the choices we make here today." The Merovan's gaze swept across the assembly, his weathered features etched with a mixture of resolve and apprehension. The people of Earth have demonstrated a remarkable resilience and determination, qualities that could prove invaluable in the challenges that lie ahead. And if we were to reject their plea for cooperation, we risk driving them to pursue their own agenda, one that may very well destabilize the fragile peace we have so painstakingly built. Zara Orin nodded in agreement, her piercing azure eyes fixing upon the brooding Grathkor. "The Merovan counselor speaks wisdom. We cannot afford to dismiss Earth's potential, nor the consequences of excluding them from our ranks. This is a pivotal moment in the history of our galactic civilization, and we must be willing to embrace the unknown, to take a leap of faith." The Xendari counselor opened his jaws to unleash another scathing retort, but a murmur of assent from the other delegates silenced him. Therivel inclined his head, his gaze meeting Sarah's. "Young Chen, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I formally extend an invitation to the people of Earth to join our ranks as equal members. We recognize the remarkable achievements of your world, and we believe that together we can usher in a new era of cooperation and advancement that will benefit us all." Sarah felt a surge of elation, but she maintained her composure, inclining her head in a gesture of gratitude. "Esteemed counselors, the people of Earth are honored by your invitation. We stand ready to contribute our knowledge, our innovations, and our unwavering determination to the greater good of the galaxy." As the chamber erupted in a renewed buzz of discussion and speculation, Sarah allowed herself a moment of quiet triumph. The course of history had been irrevocably altered, and her world now stood poised to take its place among the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Yet, Sarah knew that the real work was only just beginning. The integration of Earth into the Galactic Council would undoubtedly present a host of challenges, both political and practical. Tensions would likely flare as the established order adapted to the presence of this new disruptive power. But as Sarah gazed out upon the sea of alien faces, she felt a renewed sense of purpose. The future of the galactic throne may very well hang in the balance, but she was confident that the people of Earth were up to the task. They had weathered countless adversities, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and now they were poised to take their rightful place among the stars. With a deep breath, Sarah turned to face the assembled counselors, her expression resolute. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, I can assure you that the people of Earth are eager to contribute to the greater good of our shared galactic civilization. We may be newcomers, but we bring with us a wealth of innovation, a hunger for discovery, and a steadfast commitment to peace and cooperation. The counselors exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of the decision they had made clearly etched upon their features. But as Sarah spoke, a glimmer of cautious optimism began to take root in their eyes. For perhaps the first time, they saw Earth not as a threat, but as a potential partner in the grand endeavor of galactic advancement. And as the meeting drew to a close, Sarah knew that the future was poised to unfold in ways that none of them could have imagined. The galactic throne had been shaken, and the course of history had been forever altered.